Hey coach, in my boxing stance, how should I position my back foot?
90 degrees.
If I want to develop lights out punching power, how should my back foot look?
It should be at 90 degrees.
What about the greatest fighters of all time? What about their back foot?
It was at 90 degrees.
So Coach Yankello, what's all this talk about 90 degrees?
In our last video, we had talked about the placement of the back foot, with the heel being up. And in our film study, we showed all the all-time greats with that foot being flat. Now we're going to talk about the degree of that back foot. What degree of angle that foot should be. That foot should be at 90 degrees. And if you look at all the all-time greats, that's what it was. It's no different than any other sport that's a throwing sport or a swing sport. You have that back foot at 90 degrees in boxing just like you do in football, just like you have it in baseball, just like a tennis player will swing a tennis racket. A golfer, a batter, that foot is at 90 degrees, that back foot. That foot's at 90 degrees, that's going to give you maximum twist, maximum torque on your punches. If you watch all the all-time greats like Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis, and we have footage of Rocky Marciano knocking out Jersey Joe Walcott. We have Sugar Ray Robinson. I got film of him fighting Randy Turpin. When you see that back foot being at 90 degrees and you see him turning everything into those shots. Because if you're 45, then that foot, when you turn that foot, you're only getting that much. When you're at 90, you're getting that much more on the torque of your whole body. And the other thing that people don't realize is every punch hides the next punch. If you have that foot at 90 degrees, that right hand is going to be hidden. If you start to turn your feet at 45, I'm going to see that right hand before it's being released. So you've got to be able to have that back foot at 90 degrees for offense and for defense. Just like the great fighters, Floyd Mayweather, James Toney, they roll with that punch. If they had that foot at 45 degrees and they roll with that punch, they would not be able to hide that right hand and come back and roll with that right hand. They wouldn't be able to get out of the way. They'd only be to here. When they're at 90, now they're able to go all the way here. James Toney would roll all the way back. He'd come with uppercuts. He'd come with right hands. So that's a defensive tool as well, not just offensive. You watch all the great punchers, they're going to be at 90 degrees. You're going to watch all the great defensive fighters. You're going to watch all the all-time greats, period, with that foot at 90 degrees. And we got plenty of footage to show you that. You got the great Julian Jackson knocking out Terry Norris. You watch how he just steps up and he's at 90 degrees and he throws that right hand. Terry Norris never seen the punch until it hit him. When you watch Rocky Marciano when he fought Jersey Joe, same thing. You watch Thomas Hearns. Thomas Hearns throw that right hand against Pipino Cuevas when he won the welterweight title. He's throwing that right hand. He's at 90 degrees. He throws that right hand. He drops it. And because he's a taller guy, he's dropping it down lower. So it's almost like throwing a baseball or throwing a football. So he's dropping it like a throw. And it's just because he's a taller guy. A punch, everything is a twist. Everything is east and west. A lot of people think it's north and south, just like throwing a football. A lot of people think throwing a football is you're going here and you're going north and south. You're going back here. And if you have a compass, it's east and west. So when I throw a football, I'm going back to pass. I'm going to drop here. I'm not going south to come north. I'm going here and I'm twisting here. Bam! Them guys, the great quarterbacks like Brett Favre and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, they go back and they throw the thing like a dart, like an arrow. They're going back here and they throw that thing. It's that way. If they got to throw a long ball, yes, of course that front foot's going to come forward. But if you watch just like baseball, these guys are throwing the baseball. When they throw the baseball, they don't come with, a lot of times they don't come with that leg forward like that. They come here and they're twisting here. And that front leg's going here, but they're going off to the left. Because it's a twist. Everything is going east and west. Hockey player, same thing. Foot's flat on the ground. Tennis player, foot's flat on the ground at 90 degrees, and they're twisting everything into it. You can watch so many of the great fighters. You watch Lennox Lewis, you can watch James Toney. When you watch Lennox Lewis, you'll watch him knock out Mike Tyson. Same thing, foot's at 90 degrees, he drops that right hand on Mike Tyson, knocks him out. When I had Calvin Brock, 2000 Olympian, I trained. He ended up becoming the #1 heavyweight in the world. He was 29-0 before he lost to the all-time great Vladimir Klitschko. As we came up, he fought Jamil McCline. He was 6'6", 265 pounds. Calvin was 216, 6'1". When they were fighting on the inside, McCline was trying to put all his weight on Calvin, but Calvin would have that back foot at 90 degrees, and McCline would try to use his weight, and he would square up, and he could never move Calvin. And Calvin would always have the position to be able to throw the uppercut, be able to turn his head underneath McCline and throw hooks and uppercuts and make him fall into right hands, because McCline was squaring his feet up. And he was falling into Calvin, but he could never move Calvin with all the weight that he had. That foot is like a post at 90 degrees. That foot's a post. So when you got to have as much weight as you want. I'm strong there. I got leverage. I got stability. If the weight, I can use that guy's weight against him. If he's pushing that weight, I might make him think I'm pushing. So I want him to push a little bit more. Then I'll step back and I can throw an uppercut. I can throw a right hand. I can make him roll into that shot. So it's so important to have that foot at 90 degrees. It's so important to have that foot flat as well for stability and leverage. When you're moving, you slide your feet and you plant it. And you plant those feet at 90 degrees to have maximal leverage, maximum stability for defense. One of the things we talked about in the last video is how coaches can make people that come in the gym that are familiar with other sports but not familiar with boxing, how they can make them feel more comfortable by relating it to other sports. That's why all the sports, the swing sports, like I said in the last video, and all the throw sports are the same. And that's why there's guys athletes that can play multiple sports very well, because they understand body mechanics subconsciously or consciously. They understand that those body mechanics are the same. Another reason you want to have that foot at 90 degrees is when you put that foot at 45 degrees and you don't have it at 90, you transfer that weight to the left foot. You're going to transfer the weight to the left foot, and it's going to make you have a tendency on throwing your jab or your right hand with the weight on your left foot, which is going to make you lean. And nothing, like I talked about previously, nothing needs to be north and south in boxing. Everything is a twist. Everything is a twist. So everything's going east and west, not north and south. So when the foot goes at 45, instead of being here, your weight goes here, and the weight comes to the lead leg. When it comes to the lead leg, whether you're a southpaw or right-handed, that's what's going to happen. When you turn that foot 45, you're going to put more weight to that lead leg, and you're going to have a tendency on leaning with your punches. And you're going to take that head past the knee. And that's something you don't want to do in boxing, because you're susceptible to all kind of counter punches, and you have no way of getting back to have leverage and stability to counter as well. If you watch the great Rocky Marciano in that video against Jersey Joe Walcott, that says it all. I mean, that shows you how that back foot's at 90, how it's flat, how he's able to have maximal leverage and stability and torque in his punch. Torque. When you're at 90, you have all that torque. If you watch Ray Robinson, and you watch him when he fought Rocky Graziano, when he threw that punch, he had that foot flat on the ground and he's throwing no shot. All those all-time greats are getting that power and that leverage from that foot being flat and being at 90 degrees.
What's up, everybody? I'm Coach Joe Devosevic. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.